Tonight, calls are growing for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to resign, this time about a second signal chat where sources say he was sharing attack plans with his wife and others. Perry Russum has the details from Washington.
After sources say Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared attack plans with his wife, brother, and personal attorney on the messaging app Signal, Hegseth defending himself today on Fox News.
What was shared over Signal, then and now, however you characterize it, was informal, unclassified coordinations for media coordination and other things. That's what I've said from the beginning.
Sources tell ABC News it was some of the same sensitive information mistakenly sent to a journalist on Signal, including flight schedules for F-18s, all ahead of the airstrikes in Yemen last month.
Everything we do here is above board, trying to make sure that we safeguard information. In this point, those folks who were leaking, who have been pushed out of the building, are now attempting to leak and sabotage the president's agenda.
At least 3 people have been pushed out of the building in the last few weeks at the Pentagon after leaks investigation started. All 3 are senior advisors for Hegseth, and they deny leaking.
It's been clear since day one from this administration that we are not going to tolerate individuals who leak to the mainstream media, particularly when it comes to sensitive information.
The White House today says President Trump is standing by Hegseth, claiming there's a smear campaign against him.
There's a lot of people in this city who reject monumental change, and I think, frankly, that's why we've seen a smear campaign against the Secretary of Defense since the moment that President Trump announced his nomination before the United States Senate.
Republican Congressman Don Bacon, who was on the Armed Services Committee, is at least suggesting Hegseth should be fired. He is the first Republican member of Congress to do that. He says if the reporting on Hegseth is true, he finds it unacceptable. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
Let's turn to your price points now. There's new reports out about the state of the economy. The International Money Fund says the economic outlook for the U.S. and global economies has worsened. The IMF has increased the chances of a recession happening from 25% back in October to 40% now. The company is pointing to President Trump's tariffs as a factor.
It's quite significant, and it's hitting all the regions of the world. We're seeing lower growth in the U.S., lower growth in the euro area, lower growth in China, lower growth in other parts of the world.
The stock market is also taking a hit this week due to Trump's attacks on Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Trump has threatened to fire him and demand he lower interest rates following an announcement last week where he said he was waiting to see the effect of Trump's economic policies before changing them. Tesla's profits fell 71% over the first 3 months of this year, according to a company earnings release. The decline coincided with a slump in sales, stock woes, and amid worldwide protests against CEO Elon Musk over his role in President Donald Trump's administration. Musk responded to the report saying he'll be allocating more of his time to Tesla starting in May. According to a new report, the Trump administration is reportedly exploring options to reverse declining birth rates in the U.S., including adding more financial incentives. The New York Times reports that the White House has been hearing different ideas about how to get more Americans to have children and get married. The report says one of the proposals being heard would grant American mothers a $5,000 cash baby bonus after delivery. This would require an act of Congress. Other proposals involve reserving 30% of scholarships for the Fulbright program for applicants who are married or have children, and creating government-funded programs that educate women on their menstrual cycle. The Trump administration has yet to show indication that these ideas will be implemented or are being seriously considered. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. today calling on food manufacturers to phase out certain artificial dyes. While some studies suggest the dyes could be harmful, some experts question the need for a ban.
Cereals, candy, and drinks. Artificial dyes are often used to make them those bright colors. But now Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is moving to get them out of the food supply.
For the last 50 years, American children have increasingly been living in a toxic soup of synthetic chemicals.
The Biden administration started the process of banning red dye number 3, which will need to be removed from food by January 2027 and from medications by 2028 because it was shown to cause cancer in rats. The HHS now calling on food manufacturers to phase out the 8 remaining artificial dyes. The dyes are often found in cereal, ice cream, snacks, baked goods, beverages, and more. Kennedy setting a 2-year timeline for food companies and also announcing the approval of additional natural dyes. It's not yet clear how Kennedy will enforce the ban or implement the new changes.
Taking petroleum-based food dyes out of the food supply is not a silver bullet that will instantly make America's children healthy, but it is one important step.
Approved artificial additives are considered safe by the FDA, but the health effects are not fully understood. ABC's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Tara Narula, says some human studies have linked dyes to issues in kids.
There are human studies linking some of these dyes to hyperactivity, neurologic, and behavioral issues in kids, and then some studies showing issues with inflammatory bowel disease and allergies.
Other countries have banned some of the additives or required food packaging to include warning labels about the health risks.
California and West Virginia have passed laws to ban a handful of food dyes from school lunches. Environmental working groups say 26 other states are considering doing the same.